Hello to everyone and welcome on day 2 concerning ICT revision for paper 3. Now, yesterday we did the database part, and concerning the database, everything was very perfect, so students really enjoy. And today I want us to revise the spreadsheet part section B. Now, as I was telling yesterday, is we are not allowed in fact to spread the paper out. So we are not allowed in fact to share the papers out. It's not allowed. Good. So what I can do to help my students is to create sample question, meaning what? Similar question to what you see in the exam. Good. When I say similar question, it simply means that in terms of the question objective, everything remains the same. Like they'll be asking the same thing. Like number 1, formatting, this and that, border, formula is the same thing that you meet in the exam, but for your own question. So it's exactly that. So following this video from start to end is very clear that you will take everything. So we are going to start here. I don't want us to waste time. So we have about 20 minutes to finish all this because I've started solving some parts and the other part we'll be doing it together. Now, like here they say, this tag is based on a workbook named Employee Performance found in your candidate folder. Good. So I've opened it already. This is it. So you go inside your candidate folder, you just double tap and you open. So this is the sheet. This is the workbook in fact. Okay. Employee Performance. So we start the question. The first question they say center and merge title employee performance report across cell A1 is to J1. So I go to Excel. This is A1 here. This is A1. Good. Make sure you're having this white plus. This white plus is used for selection. You just click on the left button of your mouse, then you just move your mouse here. So A1 to J. So this is J here. J1. So J represents the column and 1 represents the row. So I've selected this is center and merge. So the center and merge, you click on this option. So you are done with that question. Now the second part they say that the font size should be 16 and the color should be light blue. So let me finish with this one first. Font size, so you select that cell, you go at this level. Good. Font size they say 16. Now the color they say light blue. You come here, light blue is something like this. Okay. Now next thing they say row height 50 pixels. Thick borders around A1 is to J1. Good. So let us do this one together. So let me start with the row height. For the row height, just place your pointer at the level of row 1. Now, and make sure your pointer is having this symbol. So follow very well the symbol. So you're having something like a plus with a double-sided arrow. So when you're having that now, you can just tap and you move like this. Good. When you move like this, you realize that you have pixel in bracket. So here the question said, I think they say 50 something pixel. Good. So if I think from here you are seeing the idea. If they say 100 pixel, you just try to move it and you end at 100 pixel. So I think the question says 52. So this 52 pixel is okay. Now after that, the next thing the question asks us to change what? Okay, the border. Okay. Now I've selected it. If you go to font, you will see this small box here. You click on this drop down button. Now you see check box border. So you take this one. When you click, this is the result there. Good. So it's all. So we go to the next question. So we are done with this first part. We go to the second part. The second part is say insert borders around all cells in the range A3 is to J10. A3 is to J10. So this A3 you select it. The same thing, you press on the left button of your mouse. Then generally when you say A3 is to J10, the idea is to start at A3, go at J first. So look the column J. When you're at the column J now, you move now down to the column 10. They say A3 is to J10. So you're already at the column J, you just move down now, you look for 10. So you'll be looking at how this 10 here. Good. So this is your selection, and it asks you to add borders everywhere. So you click here, you see something like all borders. You click on that. So this is all what the question is asking you to do. So after doing that, let us move to the next question very fast. Now here they say use formula and cell referencing. Now what is the meaning of cell referencing? Cell referencing is just a way to access a cell. For example, when you're in Excel, if I want to do something like, let me just take this example. Imagine that here I have 4. Here I have maybe 3. Now, if I want to sum these two, I'm not going to say equals to, because generally to write formula you start with equals to. So you're not going to say equals to 4 plus 3. No. Generally to access a cell, to manipulate the data, we use cell referencing. Meaning what? This 4 is located at what? At F19. You take F19. Plus this one is located at G9. 19. You press enter. Good. So the way of accessing data using this column, letter, and row number, we call that what cell referencing. Now just that we have two types of cell referencing. This one we call absolute cell referencing, and this one we call relative cell referencing. So the way of accessing row like this, we call this so the method to access cell like this, we call it relative reference. Good. Relative why? Look at something. Let me just explain the reason. It's simply because imagine that you are here. If you drag this thing like that, because generally this is what we call duplication of formula, and to duplicate a formula is go in the cell where you hold your formula. For example, let me just come and add something here first. Let us say I'm adding 1 here, and maybe I don't know, something like 2 here. Good. So if you want to calculate this sum, no need to come and rewrite the formula. No, since you have a formula in this cell, go at the level of, because for each cell you realize that it is small dot at the corner there, so place your pointer at the level of that small dot. Now when you place your pointer there, directly your pointer change to a plus, a black plus. Then you just double tap and you bring it down like this. When you bring it down, you realize that here he calculated for the next row automatically, meaning 1 plus 3 is having what? 3. Now when you move down, what is happening in reality? When you move from one row to another, like when you are moving from top to bottom, it simply means that you are moving from one row to another. So it simply means that if the initial formula was something like this formula was F19 G19, it simply means that when you drag it down, you'll be moving from one row to another. In this case, what happened? Here you move from row 19 to row what? 20, 21, and so on and so forth. That is why here, if I press enter, if I double tap here to see the formula, you see F20. Meaning what? That when I'm moving from one row to another, the number of row changes. It's all. But here the letter for the column is not changing. F and G is not changing here because I'm not moving from left to right. Where is F? This F here, for example. This F here, this G here. Good. So they are constant simply because I'm not moving from left to right. Because here now, if you want now the column to change, in this case, this is when you drag a formula maybe from left to right or right to left. Meaning what? Imagine that you are in this cell and maybe you select a particular formula and you drag it like this. What happened? You realize that when you drag like this, you are maintaining what? You are maintaining the same row. But what is changing? What is changing now is the column. Meaning what? Initially you were at column what? F. Look very well. When you drag like this, you are already at column what? Column G. Good. Meaning that this is F what? This is F. This F17 like this. Now when I move here, the column changes to what? To G, but I'm still at 17, so you move to G17. When you move there, it moves to what? H what? H17, and so on and so forth. So please don't forget that when you move from top to bottom, the number of the rows changing. When you move from left to right is bird, the letter of the column that changes. So please take note that this is only changing for relative reference. This another thing we call absolute reference. Absolute reference is like you want to move maybe from top to bottom or left to right and a cell stay fixed without changing. For example, imagine, let me clean this. Let me clean it because absolute reference is something very important that you're supposed to understand before you even start that question. Imagine that here I'm having like this box here, I'm having 5 inside this box. Now let us say the idea is to take 3 times 5, then 2 times 5. Good. So here you have your formula like this, equals to, you select 3 times, what is that, times 5. You click on 5. Good. If you press enter, everything is fine. But look at something. If you take this formula and you duplicate it on there, you realize something. Normally you're expecting what? 2 times 5, 10, but you're having but 0. Why? What happens here? Simply because for you to know what happened, just double tap and see the formula. You realize that here you're having G20 as expected, yes, but here you're having what? You're having I15. Simply because when you move down, it's also moving this one. Or you don't want 5 to move, you want this cell to be fixed. And for a cell to be fixed, you are going to use what we call absolute reference. And how to do absolute reference? Let me clean it and we go back to the first formula. And how to do absolute reference? We are going to use what we call the dollar sign. For example, when I'm moving to the bottom, I don't want this cell to change in fact its position, so I want it to stay fixed there. If you want it to stay fixed there, it simply means what? That this number 15, you don't want it to change to 16 and so on and so forth. So if you don't want it to change, you put a dollar sign beside it, just like that, and it's all. In that case, now when you drag down again, dollar sign simply means block the number 15, don't increment it. Even if I'm moving from row 15 to row 16, it must stay fixed like that. And it's the same thing. If you want to block a column, let us say you're moving from left to right. Left to right, for example, I'm moving from column 8 to column I, but I don't want 8 to change to I. In this case now, you just put a $sign in front of that age. When you move now, you realize that the data in age will stay constant, meaning that the cell will not change, and it's exactly what happened here. So let me just press enter. When I press enter, let us say I duplicate again this formula. I'm gonna drag it down. Now I'm having 10. If you double click, you see you are still having what? Your I-15. Nothing move there. So absolute reference is very important. Very important when you want to use a cell, or let me say you want to use a particular value found in a cell for multiple rows of your table. In that case, make sure that value should be an absolute reference, so that when you will be dragging to duplicate in fact your formula for all your different rows, that cell should stay constant without any modification. Perfect. So with all this, let us start. So I go to the first question. They say project average. So they're asking us to calculate project average, and that group 1 and group 2, the same thing. They're asking project average. In fact, they're asking you to calculate something average, and generally they will describe how you are supposed to calculate the average. Like here, they say that the project average is calculated by using the project scores and the project weight. Good. The project score and the project weight. Generally, when you hit the equation, you're going to identify it. Like here, okay, this project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4, and each project is having its own score and things like that. Now, where are the weights? These are the weights here. Good. So you are seeing that this first weight is for project 1. This one, these are the weight of project 2, the weight of project 3, and so on. Now, so let us start the question. They say the project average is calculated using the project scores and the project weight found in row 15. So we saw it. Now they say it is done by taking the sum of the product of each project and its weight. Sum of product here simply means what? Look at something. If I move back to Excel, they say that it is obtained using the sum of the product of each project and its weight. Meaning what? That here when you take project 1, maybe for example, you take project 1 times its weight plus project 2 times its weight plus project 3 times its weight, and so on and so forth. Good. So this is what you'll be doing here, and this is how you are calculating in fact that average. It's exactly what they are describing there. Good. When you are done now, the next thing is what? The idea now is to take the second score again times this one. So you realize that here we need to replicate that same formula for multiple cells, but this cell here must stay constant. So don't go and write your formula in such a way that when you drag to calculate for the other cell, even this man here is also moving down. No, if the thing is moving down, now you realize that at a certain moment weight is now at the level of empty cell. So you don't want it to move. So this project average, you have calculated it already. Let me just show you the formula. For example, here you see C4. C4 here is what? Is 75. I'm doing times what? Times C15. But I've added what? An absolute reference here. So that when I will drag this formula for the other one, what happened? C4 will change to C5 to access what? To access Linda Grace. And it's going to multiply by this same 0.25. When you drag again, C5 now you move to C6. C6 is what? And so on and so forth. But when you're having a cell that you want to maintain it fixed, make sure you add your absolute reference. It's all. So here we are just applying the formula. So you are seeing that I'm doing it for, and generally when you're writing formula in Excel, you are just writing it for one row. Generally the top row in fact of your table, then you drag it for the other row. Good. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. C4 times C15 plus, now you take project to G4 times G15 plus E4 and so on. So I'm doing it for the different project. Then I press what? Enter. So you come here, you click now here, you move at the level of this small dot here. Make sure your pointer is this black plus, then you tap down and you go like this. It's going to replicate the formula in the other cell. Now in the exam, if they ask now the formula of a particular cell, now let us say they ask the formula maybe of G8. In this case, just come to G8, double tap, and you see the formula being written in. You realize that where we are putting this absolute reference, they are not changing. But the rest where they are not having absolute reference, they are changing. Like here, initially this was C4, but it's already C8 now. Simply because moving from top to bottom, the value is changing according to the row, and it's all. So this is what you are doing there. So you are seeing that project average, I'm not the one creating the formula in the exam. No, they will describe in fact how to calculate it, and you just apply what they are describing there. It's all. So we go now to the next. The next here they say okay, so after this question, as I was saying, when you drag now for the other row, they will ask you maybe the formula for example for a particular name. Like here they say formula for Sarah James. So after dragging like what we did, you just go and check Sarah James. Where is Sarah James? Sarah James here is row 7. So it simply means they're asking you to display what is that? G7. Take note of that. So in the exam you'll be having something similar, so you just reason based on what you have and you do something. Now we go to final score. Now how to calculate, B is final score. So how to calculate final score? This is what they are saying. The condition to calculate final score is this. They say if attendance equals to excellent, add bonus in H15. So let us identify H15 first. So we go back to Excel. H, this is it here. H15, this is it. Okay, H15 is what? Is 10. So now let us go back again to attendance. This attendance, this is the column attendance. That's saying that if attendance is what? If the data day is excellent, you add a bonus. And take note that the bonus that we are adding it to the project average. Where is it? Project average. So I did that question already. So if you go to final score, you realize it. Let me just take for the first step. So yeah, I'm going to use my condition. I'm going to use, or before even coming here, let me read all the question. So this was the first one. Then they say if attendance is equals to good, add bonus in H16. This is cell H16 here. With this H16 here, and the bonus there is what? It's 5. Good. So just saying that for attendance excellent, add 10 as bonus mark, and for attendance good, you add what? 5. And remember here you are adding it to the project average. Good. So this way you are adding in fact the bonus to have now the final score, because here you had project average. Now based on attendance they want to give a particular final score. So in the exam your question is the same thing, similar, you reason to, you do the same. Good. Now if I come here, now they say otherwise keep project annual average unchanged. Good. Now if I go back to this with that Excel question, now I just tell you what happened. This is final score. So how to do it? Now generally for any formula, if you look very well, you'll be seeing that there is a particular description under here. So they are already describing how to do so. So now how am I writing this formula? The first thing I will write, if I open the bracket. Now when I open the bracket, I will be reading the description under, and the description is saying what? That the first thing should be logical test. Logical test is your condition. And what's your first condition? I'm testing if attendance, which is what? H4, this H4 here, is equals to what? The value is what? You take the value excellent. If this attendance is excellent, good. Now after the logical test, what follow? Semicolon. So you are seeing that here when you are writing formula, is based on the description that you are having here. If the software you are using in class there is saying after logical text put comma, you put comma. Here they say semicolon, that's why I'm putting semicolon. Now here they say value if true. Like if it is the case, what are we supposed to do? If H4 is, like if attendance is excellent, what are we doing? The question says we add the bonus 10 to the project average. So the project average is what? It's a G4. That's why I'm doing G4 plus H what? Plus H plus H15. And here I'm putting the absolute reference beside 15. Why? Because when you drag this formula to calculate for the order, you want to maintain this cell fixed in fact. Good. Now so after doing that, now I put semicolon. You realize after putting my semicolon, normally this just like in algorithm, if condition, do this, else do something else. But it's also possible to have multiple if, like here, if this condition, then you do what? You do this addition. Now the else here is another condition, because here they gave two conditions here. Like this is the first condition. That is why after doing this one, after my semicolon, I do another if now to test when attendance is good. And it's exactly what I'm doing here. That's why you see after this addition, I do semicolon, I do again another if. If what? This same attendance is what? Is good. If it is good, what are we doing? We are still taking percent project average, but this time around we are adding what? We are adding I. Is I what? Is I 15. Good. We are adding what? We are adding 5. And after doing this addition, there is no other condition, so no need to say again if after semicolon. No. Now after the last semicolon here, what follow now is what we call the else part. And the else here is what the question is talking about. Otherwise keep project average unchanged. So this is what they are saying concerning the otherwise. So that's why you are seeing that here at the level of otherwise, I'm just maintaining what? G4 like this without changing anything. Good. So any question here, you just let me know. You press enter and you just drag the formula for all the other cells. Good. And if you click on any formula, you realize that everything is working as expected. Good. The cell of bonus are not changing. So in the exam you have something like this, and this is how you are writing it. It's all. Now we go to the next question. The next question is say performance rating. Now they say if final score of an employee is between 0 to 40, we display what? Need improvement. 50 to 69, we display what? Satisfactory. 70 to 84, very good. and this good. So generally, to do this type of thing, you're going to use the if condition again. This time around, you use multiple if. Like you start with the first if condition testing for this range here. If it is the case, what are you doing? You display excellent. Then you do again another if for the next one, and so on and so forth. And how to do the if, then now it depends on you. When they say max between 85 to 100, it simply means what? Now you can just take a condition that take if what are you comparing for the final score? Okay, you can just take a condition where you are saying that if final score is greater than or equals to 55, automatically what are we doing? Excellent. Because when they say in the range 85 to 100, it simply means that the minimum is what? 85. That's why my condition is I'm just testing if final score is greater than or equals to 85. If it is the case, display excellent. Else here means what? If something is not greater than or equals to 85, simply means that it is less than 85, and less than 85 simply means the minimum here becomes what? 84. So now you go down to the next condition. What the next condition say? The next condition is saying that 70 to 84. So just take the minimum. Like when you do your condition, you just say if final score is greater than or equals to 70, do what? Very good. The same thing here, you say if final score is greater than or equals to what? 15. So always take greater than or equals to 15, knowing that when the thing move, maybe let us say to 51, 52, 53, it can reach now maybe to this 69, here. If it cross 70, is already entering where? Yeah. After 70, 71, 72, and so on and so forth, up to 84. If it cross 84 to 85, it falls here directly. That's why we are testing the condition like that. So if I go back to the Excel formula, where is that my formula? This is here. Performance outstanding is exactly what I'm doing. So here I'm saying if this is my final score, I've selected this in fact. So if I4 is greater than or equals to 85, you just put semicolon first. Remember, after condition logical test, you write the value that's supposed to be displayed. We call it the true value. So and the value there from the question paper, they say outstanding. Make sure you write it in double quotation. Take note of that, double quote. Don't forget. Then you put semicolon. Normally, after putting semicolon, you're supposed to put the false value. But see, if you have another condition, you open another if again. You do the same thing. If final score is greater than or equals to 70, it's what? Very good. Then another condition, if I4 is greater than or equals to 50, we display what? Average. Now, the last if, in fact, is the one taking the else. So the else here is what? So after testing all the different conditions, the else here simply means that you are having a mark less than 50. And less than 50 going to 0 or maybe negative number. In that case, we just have what? Need improvement. Good. That's why here you are seeing that we have what? After this average semicolon, I'm just writing need improvement because this represents what? The false condition. And the next thing is the number of times that you have opened an if condition. Make sure you close it here because sometimes people open it, don't close at the end. So I've opened if how many times? 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's why you see I'm closing this bracket three times. Good. So after doing that, now you just copy the formula to the other cell and it's going to do the job. So I did that already. Perfect. So in the exam you have a similar question. So the next thing after that, they say project average summary. Good. They say use function to calculate the average mark of each project. Write down the formula used to calculate the average of project 4 in cell 10. So they will ask you to write that on the paper. But now in this case, how to calculate the project average summary is very easy. You go where is project average summary? This is it here. So where is project 1? You start with project 1. And in the exam they will precise exactly in which cell you're supposed to calculate that. So here you use your formula. They say project average summary. I'm calculating the average of project 1. So here you just write equals to, you write the formula average. Good. Now and inside average you just select in fact the range of number that you want to calculate the average. So you select and it's all. Now you come and drag it here so that it should calculate automatically for project 2, for project 3, and for project 4. If you want now go to project 2, you realize that here it's calculating it normally. Generally when you double tap, you'll be seeing exactly where the selection is being taken, and here we are seeing the selection, and I think it's normal because here we move from column C. I've dragged from left to right, so it simply means that the only thing that changed was what? The letter. So the letter changed from C to G, because at first you had what? You had something like C4 to C8. This time around it's going to move to G4 to G8, and so on and so forth. When you drag again, it moves now to E4 to E8 and so on. So it's all for that one. The next one is say best project score. So here they are describing best project scores. But let me just go here. best project. When you talk about the best project, we are talking about the highest. We are talking about the maximum. Good. And for us to calculate the best here, or let me just say maximum, you use the formula max. So yeah, equals to max. You see max here. Now you want to calculate max of what? Of the best score. So where is your column score? This is it here. You just select this range like that and you close it. So the formula will go through this range and display the maximum, or let me say display the highest or the best if you want. So if I click there, the answer is what? 103. Go and check it manually. Is it 103? Yes, it's 103. Now the next question here, they ask for the lowest project score. Lowest simply means the minimum. The minimum. And how to calculate the minimum? The same thing. It's a function called min. You click on min, you come and select in fact the range where you are trying to calculate. You close it, then you press enter. It's giving us 47.5. Check, is it the case? Yes, from this final score, this answer is correct. Good. And it's all, please, it's all. Now remember that what you did here, you're not going to drag it for this one, because it's as if I didn't even calculated the thing in the right place. But anyway, yeah, I'm just showing you how to calculate. In the exam now, concentrate, like read your question and know where you're supposed to do the calculation. Yeah, I've just chosen cell C11, but in the exam they can precise that, okay, write the formula for best score in B11, write the formula for this in B12, and so on. So concentrate and read the equation to know where you're writing the formula. Yeah, I'm just writing it here at this position because my aim is just to show you how it works. Good. So let me leave it like that. We go to the next question. Rating count. Good. Here, rating count. Let us read the question. They say use a formula to count the number of occurrences of each performance rating in column J. Now when you see the number of occurrences, it's very easy. It's as if, let us say maybe here you're having grades and it asks you to calculate the number of A grades, or they ask you to calculate the total number of B grades, the total number of C grades, and things like that. So yeah, it's the same question, but just that here they are asking us to calculate the total number of maybe outstanding in all these range, the total number of maybe averages, the total number of I don't know, of need improvement, and so on and so forth. And the question will always precise in which cell you are supposed to write this formula of your count. Now where is it? In this my question, did I precise? Where is it? Use a formula. Okay, enter the formula in the range H25 is to H28. So identify H25 is to H28. This is H here. Where is 25? This 25 here. So generally when you click, look very well the row. Now yeah, I don't want to respect that because I don't know why I'm leaving so many space like that. So let me imagine that the equation say H maybe 11 to H20. But it means what? That when you calculate for the first one, you do it here. You calculate for the second one, you go to the next. You calculate to the second one, you go to the next, and so on and so forth. So let me start with H17. Now in H17, now, so generally, if you want to count maybe the number of places where you are seeing outstanding in this column here, is very easy. You're going to use the formula count if. Count if here simply means what? The first thing you use to count something, but he's counting based on a condition. That's why here I'm clicking on count if. When count if appears like this, what's happening is you select the range first, because look at the formula. The description you are saying the high range, and then you write is to, you write criteria. So this is the range, because this is where I'm trying to count. So after that range, now you put semicolon and you put a criteria. So what the first criteria? Outstanding. So you write it out. Standing. If you are manipulating grade, you write the grade. Good. And this is similar to what I did in the center rational mock. That's why I was saying that it's not really necessary for me to solve the equation of group 1, because it's similar to the previous thing I'm doing. Good. Then here I press enter and the answer is what? Is 0. Oh yeah, I'm having how many outstanding? 2. I'm having how many? 3 of them. So if I'm having 0, it's surely because of spelling mistakes. So let me go again and read it. Yeah. What am I writing here? They say outstanding, spelling mistake. Outstanding. Good. 3. The answer is correct. The answer is correct, and you can count it manually. You see that it is 3. Now they say H what? They say H7. I said that let us assume that they say H17 is to H18. It means that when you go now for the next one, which is H18 here under, now you are writing a similar formula, but now you are counting by average, and you do so and count in fact whatsoever they are asking you. So in the exam, if you have things with grade, like they say count the number of A grade in a particular range, you must do it. Count the number of B grade in a particular range is the same thing. So you just use your count if. So by the time you count based on the condition you use, count if. Take note of that. You select your range, though the range is where you are counting. After the range semicolon, then you write in fact the condition, like you are counting based on what. Yeah, I'm counting based on average. Good, mean that in that range where you are seeing average, just count them and you display. Good, you say 1, and yeah, of course it's 1 only, and you do it for the rest. So it's all. So yeah, I'm just trying to show you how it works. The next thing, they say formatting. They say that you should format average and final score to 2 decimal places. Good. So yeah, it's very easy. When you're at the level of Excel, where is average? This average is final call. Start with average in fact. So you select all this column. Then here at this level, you see these small zeros. So if you click there once, it's this 3 decimal place. So you click to what is beside 2GP. Nice. Now you go to final score. You click there. Okay, no, this 3 decimal place. So I click back here, decrease decimal. You click, it reduces what to 2. So yeah, you're just playing with this thing up here and you're observing at the same time. The question says 2 decimal place. That's why I'm doing it like that, and it's all. So yeah, we really go through all the different type of questions you'll be having in the exam. Meaning that group 1 and group 2, this is exactly the question they had in the exam. So understand it, so that now when you be having your own question, you are just following instruction. At least you are open-minded now to calculate everything. So this is where we are ending. See you. I'm very tired, so I think this will help. So if you like the video, so if the video is nice, just leave a comment, a positive comment, and like the video. Don't forget to like the video.